Today here in the dungeon, we're checking out the Type Metal Pro Distortion pedal from Amptweaker. Okay, bear with me because this pedal does a lot, and I want to go through all the features on it as best and as thoroughly as I can, but without turning this into a really uber stupid crazy video, crazy long video that is. So here we go. This really is more of a preamp than it is a pedal, though it can be used as either. And I'll get more into the design features of that here in a little bit. The inspiration as I know it. Right now, the way it's basically a two-channel distortion pedal, a distortion with a boost. This obviously is your on-off switch and your boost switch, which you can engage a lead boost should you need to do so. Your knobs on top are, for the most part, pretty standard. I think for distortion pedals like this, that's your level, low, mids, highs, your gain knob, and then this one, as the name of the pedal implies, that's your tight control, and we'll demonstrate that here in a little bit. You'll also see all these little switches there in between the knobs, and what those do. It might be a little bit tough to see on camera. This one gives you an option for a mid boost by flipping that over. This one is another mid control, I think, really that goes the other direction. Because this one you can control with this one you have when you turn it on, you put it into what they call thrash mode. This switch here is edge. You can, and when you flip it over, when you engage that, you're engaging what they call smooth mode. That's really kind of basically a treble. Kind of smooths out the highs a little bit. The noise gate does have a built-in noise gate to it, and this thing's got a lot of gain on it, so that's very helpful. And then you also have a high gain switch, which we'll hear both of those as well. This other switch here in the back is what that will allow you to do. This pedal can run on either 9 volts or 18 volts, and I think it might even be able to run on anything in between. But 9 and 18 for sure. You can also run, if you choose to run it on batteries, 9-volt batteries. You can either run it on 1 or 2 9-volt batteries, which is cool. And that switch, if you have batteries in it, that switch will allow you to switch over from AC power to battery power. Let's see. When you engage the boost control, when you turn the pedal on, obviously, and this is what it sounds like flat. You can engage the boost control, and based on my settings here, these two knobs control that. This is your volume boost and your volume gain. Notice I actually have the gain all the way down. So the final features is this thing has three effects loops on them. We'll start with what they call the sidetrack effects loop. That is over here on this side, and what that does, this effects loop, any effects that you have plugged into it that you have running through that loop are only engaged when the pedal is off. So if you like to run a chorus or something with your clean sound, as soon as you turn the pedal off, your chorus pedal will automatically be engaged. This is your universal effects loop. This one's on all the time. So, you know, if you're trying, you know, if you want a subtle delay or something on your tone all the time, like you know, if you're trying to get an 80s kind of thing, you can do that. And then this loop here is engaged when you have the boost on. So if you need to run an EQ pedal or something for your lead boost and EQ that tone a little bit more, you can do that. And again, as soon as you disengage the boost, that loop is turned off. So what I'm going to do from here, I am going to turn off my vocal mic so that you can hear how this thing sounds through the amp better. And I'm going to play with all the knobs individually and mess with the switches and then get a setting that I like. And then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, I don't normally go this in depth into the features, but on this pedal it's important. The reason why I wanted to do an uppy closey on this one is because I wanted to show the inside. Oh, and also on the back that there is James Brown's signature, the man who designed this pedal. More on him later. The first thing that I wanted to show is the battery door. It is designed in such a way that there are no tools needed to get into it. You just slide it, pull it back, and you can get into it if you need to change a battery or adjust any of the controls in there, whatever it may be. And it's also designed that that's as far as it goes. It won't come out. So, good thinking there. Look here on the inside, there are some additional controls here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 switches, and what these switches control, this controls the universal effects loop, and this one controls the boost effects loop. And what those do, you can switch whether those take place before or after the gain stage, so pre or post, if you will. So you know, more tweaking available. These two switches here, that's for fat rhythm and fat boosted is what they're labeled as. So I believe those are probably bass boost controls. If I'm probably a bass boost if I had to guess, for each mode. I'll have to read into that, and I will provide more accurate descriptions of that in the down in the description section below. The one thing I really did want to point out was this knob right here. What this knob does, this actually controls your noise gate, and it's just a tiny little trim pot, and you can turn it with your thumb. But that essentially controls how much the noise gate is choking off the tone. If you think the noise gate control is choking off the tone a little bit too much, you can adjust it there. And finally, there is one more trim pot all the way up here inside. And I will admit that one there, I'm not real sure what that one does yet. That's another one I need to look up. But one final feature that I want to show you in this particular section is, you see there is actually room for 2 9-volt batteries. So you can choose if you want to run this off of 1 9-volt or 2 9-volts, and again, that switch is that 5th one that I pointed out right there. So very, very cool stuff. Very cool pedal. All right, I have set up here on the floor in front of me, basically just a makeshift, not even a pedal board. They're all just kind of sitting on the floor in front of me like they usually are. But I wanted to demonstrate the versatility, the actual usability of this pedal, especially when you're using it to its full capacity with all of the effects loops and all that kind of stuff. So just so that you know what I have plugged into it, I've got it's called the Tomsline ACH3 Angelo Batio signature analog chorus pedal into the sidetrack effects loop. That's the clean, essentially the clean channel, what we'll call the clean channel. I have a CNZ tape echo plugged into the universal loop, so when the pedal's engaged, that one will be on all the time. And just a good old-fashioned Boss GE7 EQ pedal in the boost loop. So anyway, let's see what this thing, how it all sounds. Just as one last variable, I'm going to demo this pedal with all the effects loops turned off or disengaged, if you will. But let's see how it sounds with a guitar tuned down a little bit with active EMG pickups. Well, if you know me at all, you probably don't really need me to tell you what I think of this. I think this thing is awesome. Best metal distortion pedal I've ever played by a wide margin. Extremely well thought out. This pedal, as I mentioned earlier, and Amptweaker pedals in general were designed by a man named James Brown, not to be confused with the famous blues and Motown singer, the oldie days. You know, an well-known amp designer named James Brown, and he is probably most well known for, basically he designed the PV 5150 slash 6505 series amps in collaboration with Eddie Van Halen when Eddie was using those amps. And so if you think that this pedal sounds a lot like a 6505 or 5150, that's not an accident. You know, that amp has become regarded as one of the best rock tones, one of the best rock amps out there. And this pedal recreates it, somewhat recreates it, you know, very effectively. And I say that because it doesn't sound like a pedal at all. It sounds like an amp. You know, which is why what I alluded to earlier towards the beginning of this video when I said that this is really more of a preamp rather than it is a distortion pedal. So really, if you just had a power amp and that's all you had and you wanted to use this as your preamp, you could very much get away with that. He thought of everything on it too, you know, all the way down to the battery door, you know, and how to make sure that that doesn't get lost. As well as you know, some of the tweakable controls on the inside. You know, again, the noise gate function, the boost switches and all that kind of stuff that are in there. Very, very well thought out in my opinion. You know, when I first heard about these and I thought, you know, and I heard that these things had 3 effects loops on them, I'm like, well, seems a little excessive, don't you think? I mean, you know, most amplifiers only have 1 effects loop. But now that I've had it for a few weeks and I've used it with all the effects loops engaged at once, I see the advantage to it. And it's, you know, the way that very, very well thought out. You know, the way that you know, of course, the universal loop and you know, activates the effects loop for when it's off and activates the effects loop for the boost mode. What more is there to say about it? You know, and it sounds killer. It sounds killer. Like I said, best sounding metal distortion pedal that I have ever heard by a long, long shot. You know, built-in noise gate, you know, a good, very effective built-in noise gate, you know, which for pedals like this is, if you're a high gain player and, you know, you're playing live shows through a 100 watt amp, noise gate is pretty much essential if you're playing on stage, you know, because when you got everything cranked up that loud, it's next to impossible to control. So a noise gate is, you know, of some kind is pretty much necessary, but they built it in here. So, you know, now the noise suppressor pedal that I have on my pedal board is going to free up some pedal board space for something else. I don't know what that is yet, but, you know, we'll see. But regardless, I don't need a noise suppressor on my pedal board anymore. You know, it's heavy. It's got some weight to it. I mean, this pedal itself is, you know, several pounds. So I mean, they definitely packed a lot into it, but you know, but it's extremely well built. You know, switches feel good and solid like they should. The knobs are good, real good and solid. No looseness or anything like that. And you know, looks like those are all attached on their set screws. And they're also machined really well too, extremely well. You know, they're knurled around the outside. You know, they're metal knobs, not plastic. You know, they're metal knobs and they're knurled on the outside. Similar to the way a knob on a guitar might be, and then they're also beveled on the top, you know, which is kind of a cool look. This thing really, another good thing about this pedal that most metal distortion pedals don't do. One setting that I really liked was with the gain on both the rhythm mode and the boost mode. With the gain turned all the way down, it's a really tight, percussive, articulate high gain guitar tone. You know, this thing's not going to get down into you know, like Stevie Ray Vaughan blues type of territory. You know, it's just, there's way too much gain for that. But you know, but turning it all the way down, I thought, you know, turn that all the way down and crank the mids on, you get a really cool rock tone out of it. You know, most metal distortion pedals, when you turn the gain all the way down, it's, you know, most metal distortion pedals, despite how much I seem to love them, and I own a zillion of them, and I'll keep buying them, and I just enjoy playing with them at home. But you know, when it comes to like a practical lot, like for, you know, for live purposes, there's always just something missing with them, and they just never seem to work out in that kind of scenario. This one, on the other hand, will do that. It'll do anything that I need it to do. So, not going to say that I'm never going to buy another metal distortion pedal or another distortion pedal period, because I know I will. But this is one that will be in the you know, in the regular rotation or on the shelf or any of that stuff for a long time. A couple of other things about this these pedals. They make a you know, of course, you know, and again, we know this is the metal pedal, but you know, they've also got a fuzz. They also have a rock distortion pedal and an overdrive. And I think now they are also beginning to dabble in like tremolo and chorus, you know, modulation effects and things of that nature. But you know, but they also have those other varieties of gain pedals, and I think most of them, if not all of them, will come in several versions. This is the Type Metal Pro. They also make a Fat Metal Pro. The Type Metal Pro is made more for amps that have, you know, they have a lot of low end, and you might need to boost the mid range on, which is obviously what this is. Although there is plenty of low end on this pedal as well. But you know, the Fat Metal Pro leans more towards the low end tone that some players might need. And each one of those pedals will have that option. Each one of those of these also has this one comes in a Type Metal Standard, which is a smaller version of it. Doesn't have the boost mode. I think it's a 4-knob, and it only has one effect loop, and it maybe, I can't recall, but it's a smaller version of this pedal. And then there's also a junior version, which is smaller yet. And you know, they all, from my understanding, they all sound great. And each one of those distortion pedals has each of those varieties. This one is the big boy, of course. I think this one sells brand new for $319 on eBay and you know, and sites like that. I'll make sure and post those links below. They can be had used. There are several used on Reverb, you know, going for somewhere in the I believe I saw them running for, you know, about the $200 to $250 range is what people are asking for them. I will admit that I got this one significantly cheaper than that. I'm not going to say how much, but I did get it significantly cheaper than that. But I think that's only because my friends at Guitar Center Corpus Christi bought it in incorrectly in thinking it was a more inexpensive version of it, and I happened to see it and I got lucky. Any and all applicable links will be listed down in the description below. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button on my channel. We would love to have you. It would mean a lot to us, and by us I mean me. And stay tuned for more videos to come. Oh, And one last thing, the website, my website is now up and running. You can also view this video and all my other videos on, of course, my YouTube channel, but you can also see them on the website at www.robertsguitardungeon.com. Speaking of websites, there's another website I would really be grateful if you went and checked out, and that is Share the Music's Facebook page. You can go check them out and learn all about where you can donate your broken or unwanted guitars, drums, basses, keyboards, broken or unwanted instruments of any kind. If you want them to go to a good cause, contact those folks, and you can really do a lot to help change somebody's life.